Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Hopefully, I am getting a good connection so you guys are able to hear me and see what I'm doing. Um, I just wanted to come in and talk to you a little bit about what happened these last 3 days. All I can say is that it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. It was an amazing summit. Um, I as you can see, I look tired. My hair is tired. That's a perfect example of, and the reason why I'm looking to the left is I am looking to see if my Wi-Fi is stable. So it's saying that it is. So I'm hoping that it is. So we're just going to go with this and go with the flow, and hopefully things will work out great. But I wanted to talk about this amazing opportunity that was gifted to me. I want to thank Francine Parum, who allowed me to attend her Business Behind the Book Summit. If I had to put it into words, I don't even think I can, because it was that powerful. Opportunities don't happen often. And I remember in the beginning when I used to come on and do these lives and talk to you about opportunities coming your way. Be ready for them. Be ready for them, because you never know where that opportunity may take you. I had the opportunity from Tuesday to Thursday to be in New York City, my hometown. I'm a New York girl. I grew up in Queens. Philly is my second home. But I was able to go back into New York City, Manhattan, and be amongst the room of these women who were authors, aspiring authors, publishing houses. I even met a billionaire who I'll talk about a little later. So I just want to make a slight correction. She's not my first billionaire that I met this week. She's actually my second. So the first one I met was on Monday, and I'll tell you a little bit about him. So I'm excited about that opportunity as well. But Francine Parham has this knack for putting on such inspiring and engaging and powerful events, just all over. And she's been in Philadelphia a couple of times. Just so happens that she did this one in New York. The one that she did in Philadelphia was also amazing. That was at the Surrey Center. And it was very powerful. But it was this particular one where we were able to have the I want to say the not only the community, but we were able to have uh, the intimacy. That's the word I'm looking for. The intimacy of women coming together. And we had a couple of men there too. So it wasn't specifically for women. Men were there too, because we do need men to help us along our journey. But we had the opportunity to meet these people that are in this industry, whereas we normally would not meet. Like, you would not meet a billionaire on the street, and if you did, you might pass one and not know they're a billionaire unless they're in the spotlight all the time. So, and some of these publishing houses. So let me back up a little bit and share some of my story. I've always wanted to write a book. That was one of the things that I wanted to do. And ever since I was a child, I always wanted to write a book. And it was uh, it was long years in the making. I didn't know where to start. I just knew I had a story in me. All of us have a story. And they always say, once you get your story out, you give it to the world, it is no longer yours. So I always had a story in me, and I've always been into some form of creative writing, doing, articles. I don't know if some of you remember, but during COVID, I had the opportunity to hook up with an organization in Sweden where I was writing magazine articles for them for a year. So I also, write blogs for PWNC, my business, of course. And I also do some articles that I post up on LinkedIn. So I've always written. I've always had that writer spirit in me. But I wanted to get my book out. I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to. I know there's a lot of self-publishers where you can go and you can self-publish yourself. But I wanted to do it correctly. I wanted to do it whereas I had someone guiding me so I knew what it was that I wanted to do. And I didn't want it to be a book that I published and only I knew about it, or my friends knew about it, or my family knew about it, and no one else knew about it. I wanted something where I could potentially get out, spark an interest to the world where they would be interested in reading it and getting out and getting it into the hands of people who I am writing the book for. So this amazing summit allowed me to come and hear about the steps needed to do this. And what better way than to have the summit across the street from the New York Library on Fifth Avenue. If that's not motivation, if that is not a throwing it into the universe, I don't know what is. But it gave me the inspiration and so many others in the room, because I remember as we were talking throughout the conference, as people were talking, I remember Francine kept pointing across the street and saying, you know, I want to see authors in this room. I want to see your books over there in the public library. So that was amazing to hear that and to throw it out into the universe and to also inspire you. So it was 3 days from Tuesday to yesterday of just, you know, jam-packed information. We had everyone in the room from, you know, Black Excellence to Forbes Black. We've had, you know, all different types of authors. Again, there were so many, too many to name. I'm going to be posting more pictures later because I didn't get a chance yesterday to, because of course we ended up yesterday like early evening, and then of course I had to get back to Philly. So I'm still a little exhausted and just trying to get my bearings, but I wanted to get on here to share with all of you that stay inspired, keep doing what it is that you're doing, keep letting people know, you know, that there is a story in you. We all have a story. Keep doing your best. Keep going. Keep going for your dream. We all have a dream of doing something. And if your dream is to be an entrepreneur, to run a successful business, keep going. Keep going. You know, nothing that happens fast lasts. Sometimes it takes years. Like I have said before, for many of you that may not know, this is not my first business. This is my first full-time business, both businesses. But, you know, I've always had a side business of some kind of way. I've always was doing something on the side, whereas, you know, making extra income, as to say, but also not only making extra income, but to give me that, experience that I needed in order one day to fully come into my purpose and fulfilling what it is that I needed to do, which was to serve women in their business, to help them in their business, to help them build their business, and to move on from there. So in order to do that, of course, I had to work to become successful myself, because you don't want someone telling you how to run your business or start a business if you haven't started a business. You can't tell somebody how to be successful in a business if you're not successful. And don't get it wrong now. Don't equate monetary with being successful, which is a mistake that I made earlier in the business, because I remember people would say, oh, because even though we're still a toddler, we're only 5 years old. My nonprofit will be 5 years old in October. People, you know, I would say, well, I'm not successful yet. And people would say, what are you saying? Yes, you are. Yes, you are successful. Because remember, we started before COVID and we're still here by the grace of God. There was people that believed in us and still believe in us, that support us. And that's why we're still here. The organizations that we have formed partnerships with that have helped us along the way, that's the reason why we're still here. So we make sure that every chance that we get that we let people know, hey, we did not do this by ourselves. We had help. There were people on the sideline that was cheering us on. There's people that's been in this organization since day one. So they know, they have seen what we've been through, how we have grown, and how we have gotten to this point yet. And we're still growing. We're still growing. Like I said, again, we're a toddler. So getting back to my point of writing the book. So I've always wanted to write a book. And again, my ticket to this event was sponsored, because if I had to pay for it myself at this time, I wouldn't have been able to afford the ticket. And I'm not ashamed to say that, but it was just not in my budget to go to this conference. But my ticket was sponsored, which gave me the opportunity to go. And I wasn't going to go because, again, it was 3 days, getting your traveling together, getting your hotel together, getting up there, taking somewhat 3 days away from your business, to be actively involved in this, is a commitment. So, and then I wasn't feeling well. So I was like, I don't know. But you know what? I looked at the gift. I looked at the blessing, and I was like, these opportunities, again, you don't get the chance to get these opportunities. They may not necessarily come your way all the time. So I said, you know what? Let me pull my big girl pants up and go to New York. And I'm so glad that I did. Not only did it allow me to be back in my hometown of Manhattan, where I love to be, I say Manhattan is my heart. And for those of you that have children, you may be able to understand what I'm saying. There are children or a child of yours that it's just your heart. They just hit your heart, and they're your being. And that's what New York does to me. And being there and connecting again, and just being amongst the people and the excitement and everything, it just brought me back to growing up in New York, working in Manhattan, and just being in that environment. And I walked everywhere, and I made sure I looked at everything. And there's no bad pizza places in New York, so I had to get pizza. And just taking in and being in the moment, which I truly enjoyed. But being in this room with 6 and 7 figure earners, I knew at this point in my business, only 5 years old, that these are not opportunities that come lightly. So I took the chance. I'm glad I did. And I walked away with so much information. And not only that, but connections and sisterhood. I mean, the room was just filled with love. It was filled with embracement. It was filled with cheering on. It was just amazing. And it wasn't a huge crowd. It was an intimate group. I'm not sure what the final number was, but we had a nice amount of people there. But it was a beautiful crowd, a beautiful group of women, and all of us was there just cheering each other on. For the ones that were authors, giving advice to people like me who were aspiring authors, because God gave me the title of my book 2 years ago. So I've been sitting on my title of my book for 2 years, and I have done nothing about it. So I needed this push. I needed this inspiration to get in there and listen to these women telling me that are running these 6 and 7 figure income businesses. Just do it. Just do it. Don't think about it. Just write. Just to let your creativity come out. Or bring a tape recorder with you, and just talking your tape recorder, and later just put it, pen to paper, or get on your computer and type it out. So I needed to hear that, because sometimes you need that little push. You need someone saying, hey, you can do it. So I'm excited about it. So I'm saying to you, look forward to my book coming out hopefully by next year, because I really want to take my time and do this correctly. I want to make sure that I bring my best foot forward to this book. I don't want to rush to do it. It's a lot that's going to go into it. It's going to lot that's going to be in the book that's going to help me heal personally. It's going to talk about my experiences, and also my experiences in business. So when you mix those two together, you can't rush it and you have to take your time. So I'm excited to be bringing that to the forefront. So again, there were so many people. I can't name all of them, but I will be posting later, and I'll try to tag some of the names on the pictures and the people that I met, which I'm very excited to do. But I want to get to the millionaire woman that I met at the conference this week. So her name is Loida, Loida Lewis. So if you Google her, she went from a nun to a $1 billion empire. She is amazing. She's a little Philippine woman. She came over to this country. It was just amazing. Her story is amazing. She's from the Philippines, like I said. You have to go in. She's a mother, she's an activist, she's a wife, she's a CEO. She's been on CNN, she's been in Forbes, she's been on CBS News, she's been on PBS. If you Google her, she will come up. You'll be able to see she's had pictures with the president Obama and been celebrated with different awards here and there. And she is just a very, very humble spirit. She wasn't the type to go around. Half the people in the room didn't even know she was a billionaire. She came up to the room. She talked about her book. The name of her book is, I wrote it down. Why Should a Man Have All the Fun? And that in itself, that title was great. So the title is what catches you first. So she explained the logic behind that and why she wrote that book, as far as why should men have all the fun. But it's very interesting as far as why she talked about that. But again, we didn't know she was a billionaire until she finished speaking. And then she left, from the front of the room. And Francine had asked in the room who has ever met a billionaire before. And a couple people raised their hand. And then she said, well, you guys just met a billionaire just now. And everybody was so amazed because we were like, wow, we didn't know that we had this type of greatness in the room, but not only this type of greatness, but also her being so humble. So, we were all excited about that, and people were taking pictures. She had her book. I'll be putting a picture up of her and her book and tagging her so you see who she looks like. But again, you can go and Google her, Loida Lewis, read more about her story because it's very fascinating. So that was the billionaire that I met this week. However, I'm telling you, God is in the blessing business. This week has been amazing. So on Monday, I have a little tickle in my throat. I'm sorry. So on Monday, I have a meeting with a gentleman who was introduced to me and my business by someone that I connected with on Facebook. That just goes to show you never know who's watching you on Facebook. You never know who's watching you on social media. You never know who's watching what you're doing and want to reach out and connect with you. You just never know, right? So this gentleman reached out to me and said, listen, hey, Felicia, I love what you're doing. I want you to be on my podcast. So I started off on his podcast. We chatted for a little bit. But after the podcast, he said to me, there is this gentleman that is very interested in you, your business, and what it is that you do with the women. He loves what you're doing, and I want to meet you. I want you to meet him. So, okay, how many times do you talk to people and they're like, all right, well, I want you to meet somebody, or I'm going to introduce you to somebody, and, it might fall along the wayside or whatever. So you're like, okay, well, whenever you have the time, I'm open. Let me meet them and everything. Well, this gentleman that I connected with on Facebook contacted me. It was last Saturday. And he was like, listen, I have Gordon on the phone. Gordon lives in LA. He wants to know, are you available on Monday at this particular time? Because remember, LA is 3 hours behind. And I'm like, sure, I'm available on Monday at this time. I said, it's perfect because Tuesday to Thursday, I'll be in New York. So Monday is the perfect day for us to connect and talk. So, we set that up. Gordon sent me the G meeting for me and the person I met on Facebook and him to meet in this meeting. So we're having this meeting and he's telling me, I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing for women. I looked at your website. Again, that's why it's important for, if you have a business, small business or business in general, that you have a website. It's so important because people sometimes will go on your website and look at your website before they decide to reach out to you, because they want to see what it is that you're doing. They want to see if it is that you have a real business. You don't have to go out and spend thousands and thousands of dollars for a website. I remember when I started, I think it was Wix or Weebly, one of them that I went on. I designed my own website. I think it was $16 or $17 a month. It allows you to upload photos and videos, and you can do all sorts of things and make a nice little website for your business until you're able to get a graphic designer or a web designer or someone that makes something a little more professional for you. So it's nice to have a website to showcase your business. Your website is like your resume for your business. People will search your website and search you before they even reach out to you. So that's why it's so important to have a website. You never know who's looking at what it is that you're doing. But as I'm in this meeting talking to him, this gentleman, he's 79 years old. He's a billionaire. I didn't even know that. Okay. I Googled him before the meeting. I Googled his business. I wanted to see what it is that he does and all these things and how we can work together and everything. But I didn't know he was a billionaire. So that's what I'm saying. This is the second billionaire I met this week. So I don't know what God's trying to tell me. I don't know what the path is that I'm going on, but I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. And we get to talking, and I don't know how many of you saw the movie Wall Street with Michael Douglas. If you never saw that movie, I encourage you to go take a look at that movie. So Michael Douglas plays his character, Gordon Gekko, who buys and sells businesses. He buys, he holds on to some of them he buys, take apart, and he sells them. That's all he does. He gets rich, he makes his money and different thing like that. However, he was not a nice person, but that's how he made his living. So this Gordon so happens, the gentleman that's going to be mentoring me, his name is Gordon too. However, nicer person, nothing like Gordon Gekko from Wall Street. A different personality completely, but kind of does the same thing where he trains business people like me to acquire businesses, okay, to purchase businesses, to sell businesses. I'm like, because to me, I'm not even in this league yet. I'm like nowhere near. I didn't feel I'm anywhere near this caliber where I'm in a position now where I'm going to be looking at businesses to purchase, not with my money. I won't be leveraging my money, okay? But looking at to purchase businesses and to sell businesses. I'm like, holy crap, you got to be kidding me. And I'm like, okay, so one day, maybe when I decide that I want to sell PWNC, maybe he might be interested in purchasing my business or somebody in his portfolio. This gentleman has like over 60 years of a successful track record of working with entrepreneurs. $41 billion in world sales. That's $41 billion in world sales, right? I had to write this down because I wanted to make sure that I got the information right. He has helped 357,000 entrepreneurs throughout the world in his 79 years here on earth and 40 years of being in business, over 50 years actually of being in business. He purchased his first property when he was in his 20s. His first business when he was in his 20s. So he's been doing this for a long time and he definitely knows what he's doing. But he has been invited by Anthony Robbins to speak to his group and countless other organizations. Of course, he's been on, different money shows. He's been written up in the LA Times, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, anything dealing with finance, anything dealing with business, anything of that nature. You think about it, he has been a part of it. So now I'm on Zoom on a Monday in this meeting with this gentleman. And of course, I'm calling him by his last name. And he says to me, Felicia, do me a favor. He's like, call me by my first name, Gordon. He said, the last name you call me is my father's name. And I'm like, well, I was raised in a time, because I'm a baby boomer, that respectfully, you called everybody Mr. and Mrs. I don't call you by your first name unless you tell me to call you by your first name. That's a matter of respect, and people can respect you for that. So I'm having this conversation with him, and I can't get past the fact that I'm sitting here and this gentleman is talking about, okay, I want to mentor you. Not only do I want to mentor you, but I do not want 1 cent of your money. You cannot give me any of your money because I don't want your money. And I can see why he doesn't want my money, because he has his own money. He doesn't need my money. All he wants to do is help me build my business and learn how to take the next step. So I'm excited about it. It's not going to take years and years and years. He was like, I can do this for you in 7 months to a year. It doesn't take long. It depends on you and how actively engaged you want to be mentored. And I'm like, okay. So I'm saying to you, give me 7 months to a year from now that I'm talking today, after being mentored by Gordon, to come back and let you know what it is that I'm doing. But I'm excited to have been given this opportunity, because again, you get to a point in your business where you should not be chasing opportunities, because every opportunity is not a good opportunity. Okay. Every business does not align with your business. You'll get to a point in your business where the opportunities will start following you, start coming to you. I never thought ever that I would be at a point in my life where people would come to me with opportunities and I would say to them, I can't do it. I don't have the time. I'm sorry. It's not in alignment with what it is that I'm doing. I never thought that that would ever happen to me. I never thought that I would have a billionaire approach me, have a meeting with me, give me his cell number, and say, call me anytime after you go through my extensive training, because of course it's training. You just can't start doing this. If you have any questions, after you're going through the training, while you're going through the training, if you just want to talk with me to mastermind about things, if you just want to talk to me to strategize about things, if you just want to talk to me, call me. Here's my number. I never had that offered to me. So I'm saying, okay, this is something I'm definitely not going to take lightly. So mind you, again, the man's 79 years old. So I tell him, I said, okay, listen, send me where I have to get into the portal so I can start the training and looking at stuff. And I'm going away Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I won't be back until Friday. I'll look at things then. Okay. How about I'm on the train last night? I get a call and it was like, Felicia, this is Gordon. Did you get the email I sent you? And I'm like, yes, Gordon, I did. I didn't have the chance to go through anything because I remember I told you on Monday, I'm coming from a 3-day meeting, but I will take a look at everything on Friday to get started. This man is busy. He didn't have to call me to make sure I got the email, but he showed me how committed he is to me. Now I just have to show him my commitment to him. And I remember when I was talking to my husband last night, who happens to be my biggest supporter. My husband is my protector. And the reason why I say he's my protector, because he's the one that comes along with me, who is the watchful eye. He hears the things I don't hear. He sees the things I don't see. So he's the one that lets me know, hey, I don't feel good about this. Maybe you should check this. Maybe you should side eye this. Maybe you shouldn't do this. And I'm grateful for that, because sometimes we need those type of people around us, the gift of discernment, because sometimes you get so caught up in things, you get so caught up in things that you really don't see the trees because of the forest. So I thank God that he comes with me to a lot of things, and that he is very in tune with what's around me and how things are around his wife. But as I'm telling him about getting the phone call on the train and everything like that, his expression to me was, listen, I just want to offer a bit of advice to you. And I'm like, yes. He said, Now that you're starting to be in these circles, okay, you cannot say to people, I can't do this and I can't do that because you're doing something else. He said there was downtime that you had when you were in New York where you could have opened up that portal and you could have went in and started looking at some stuff and you could have did some stuff. So you don't want to give anyone the impression, because they are taking that time to pour into you, that you're not grateful for what it is that they're offering to you. And I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. It makes sense. So I'm looking forward to how this is going to pan out. I'm very excited about the opportunity. It just gives me something else to put under my belt. But you never know. You know, one day I could be acquiring my first $1 million business. You never know where this is going to lead. But I'm very excited about it all. I'm very excited about what's happening. Prayers for my orphanage here in Kenya. We really have some challenges like lack of clean water. Well, that's another thing, John. One of the things that I would like to do through the PWNC Foundation, once we start getting the funding that it is that we really need, we want to be able to do more things in the world. We want to, especially in Africa, we want to be able to afford scholarships. We want to be able to do more philanthropy. We want to be able to give back. Just like we have been poured into, we want to be able to do that as well. So just know that, yes, we will be praying for your orphanage. And again, these are some of the things that is on my scope that I want to do, especially when it comes to children. Because they are the future and they're worth investing into. So it's definitely something that is on my radar. But I didn't want to be any longer than I'm on now. I just wanted to, again, get on here and let you guys know what was going on, what happened over the last 3 days, how excited I am. I'm exhausted. My hair looks exhausted. I'm exhausted, but it's okay. It's okay. This is live. This is what we do. So on that note, you guys, for those of you who are seeing this live now, thank you. For those of you who will be seeing it later, please, drop your information. Let me know how you're doing, and different things like that. And again, I will keep you posted. I'll try to do more of these lives, even if it's no more than just training. I'll introduce you to some of the training that I'm doing in case you're interested in all that good stuff. Okay. So you guys, on that note, enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are in the world, whether it's day, afternoon, or evening. Thank you for taking the time to join me, and I will talk to you soon. Stay well and stay blessed. Bye now.